I asked Stephen Curry after game 7 in Houston, is concentration a skill? And he said, yeah. I
Yep.
firmly believe that sweat equity that you're talking about, that you've done it in college before and you've done it with these dudes, you know that guy next to you can concentrate for 48 minutes or can concentrate on whatever the game plan is, the play is, whatever it is. They very rarely make game plan mistakes. They may make physical mistakes, but they don't make game plan errors like, oh, they messed up a switch or something. They don't do that sort of thing. So they have an ability to concentrate for longer stretches of time right now than the Boston Celtics do. And usually, to me, when the margins are thin, when the talent is relatively equal, it does come down to shot making and all this other type of stuff. But Bo, it really does come down to, can you focus for long stretches of time? And it doesn't mean when you're young you can't focus, and if you're old you can, because a lot of times that's reversed. A lot of times when you're fatigued you can't focus. But they have an ability to focus in, especially when stuff gets thick. And I got to give them credit because
Hey,
I didn't think they was cut like this.
hey, man,
I
I've
really didn't.
said many times in the last 5 years, it was not more like the last four. I watched a rerun of The Last Dance. I was just flipping channels and it came up. And it's maybe the most profound thing in that film. And I can't remember who was saying it, but it's a voiceover. And I want to say that it's a clip of Jordan putting up the shot over Brian Russell, right? And he said that the greatest gift, the reason that Michael Jordan is the number one dude, the reason that there's nobody better than him is his ability to, no matter what, in the biggest moments, always be 100% present.
Mm-hmm.
He was always right there. The moment never was too big for Michael Jordan. All that other stuff, because focus isn't even so much about thinking about the one thing. It's about not thinking about the bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he
Mm-hmm.
could lock in on what this task at hand is in a fashion superior to anybody else. Like when people talk about the Mike Kobe thing, we watch Kobe put a stamp on a game 7 and completely mail it in, right? It
Yep.
was
Yep.
2007 against Phoenix. I want to say it was the year.
2006.
Or was it six?
2006.
2006. He put a stamp. That would never happen with Michael Jordan. Whatever else was going on that made Kobe do that would never happen to Mike, right? This is not to relitigate that argument, but that's the bottom
Right.
line, is the ability. I say all that to say, focus is a talent and focus is a resource. And not everybody, think about all the drugs you and your children are on. Not you, but the big you. You and your children are on in the name of focus. Like it's not something everybody has.
No. And you just said it. It's not all the other stuff. It's blocking out it's not thinking about the consequences. It's not thinking about the crowd. It's not thinking about, in the Kobe sense, I don't have the right teammates around me, so I'm going to show you this. It is staying present in the moment, zen, whatever that thing is, because that's really hard for normal human beings to do when the stakes aren't very high. If I just told you to stare at an innate object, like there's a camera on top of my screen and I'm looking at, if you told someone to stare at that for 45 seconds and not move, you know how hard it would be for them, for their eyes to not wander somewhere. Like you would have to try really, really hard. Now, think about that in the context of a basketball game where focus is one thing and you have to apply it physically when you're tired with all this other stuff in front of you, all these other variables that you can't control. That's where I will give a team like the Knicks a lot of credit. That's where I will give a player like Steph a lot of credit for being able to apply this stuff at a point in his career where he shouldn't give a shit anymore.
It's been a long time since Steph Curry was on a team that we would say was really talented, right? Or truly in the combination of talent and application. Like James Wiseman's really talented, but that's not the point now, is it? Right?
Right,
It
right.
has been a while since Steph has had a team around him that was as good as him. He has stayed closer to his optimal level of play than Draymond Green or Klay Thompson did as the years went on. Kevin Durant left, all of those things. But yeah, dog. And by the way, I don't think Steph is as good as he was, but he can still get there. He can't stay there as long as he used to, but he can still get there. Good gracious.
It's like a singer. It's like watching Stevie Wonder. We know Stevie Wonder's prime was where it was, right? In the
Right.
70s. We know that's where his prime was. But man, on the night, that is right. Stevie can sound just as good, if not better, than he has ever sounded for a night. For a night, maybe two, but usually it's for a night. You think of Steph in the same way. At least I do, from the standpoint of, hey, you gotta concentrate for 48 minutes on this one singular task, and then you can move on to the next round. That's why I would not want to see him in a game 7, because not only does he have nothing to lose, but he has this ability to concentrate that actually, I think, Bo, see, I'm gonna see if you follow me on this. I think he's a better basketball player now than he was even in 2016. I
So
don't think I don't think he's athletically there. I don't think skill
yeah.
wise he's there, but I think he's a better basketball player in terms of negotiating the game, in terms of manipulating the game, in terms of reading the game in ways that
Well,
keeps him afloat and enables him to get to those spots that you're talking about.
yeah, his understanding of the game is certainly like vastly superior than it was. I think to stay with the music analogy, tell me what you think about it this way.
All right.
If you tell me a new Stevie album is coming out, I don't care. You tell me Stevie's got a show, I'm there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the regular season is putting out an album, right? We got to go to the studio. We got to work on this. We got other people coming in. People be on vacation. We got to wait a while before we get this done, everything else. But that tour is the playoffs. And that
Ooh,
tour, them boys still dialing up on that tour now, don't they?
that's a great analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
I
like
like that. I like that.
that's the real ones do it live, right? And so that's the question that you wind up with about like the Celtics, for example. Even with that championship, deep down, are y'all just some studio gangsters? You know
Ooh.
what I'm saying? Not gangsters, but you know what I mean. Like deep
Yeah,
down, are
yeah.
y'all a studio creation? That when we got all this going on and everything else, y'all can do it. But when it just come down to the bare essentials, like, where are you? Because to me, and adding the physicality to the playoffs, which, look, I don't know who made the decision in the league office to let this go, but it was smart. I think that people like physical basketball is more interesting, but physical basketball emotionally resonates in a different way, right? Like, people like that. And so I always say my greatest rapper of all time was, and will be KRS-One. And my if I'm making an argument, because I shouldn't have to argue, but still, if I'm making
Right.
an argument, strip this all down and I put
Mm.
every MC that's ever been on stage, and all you got is you and your lonesome. Nobody's beating KRS-One. Not a soul. You know, nothing to dress it up with. You ain't got your
Yeah.
DJ out here. You ain't
Yep.
got your beats. Just a microphone. How about this? Not even a microphone. All
Just
you
you
got is you.
in that voice
No,
box.
yeah, nobody's beating that dude. When you start getting to the playoffs, man, we start whittling this down. This ain't about your 9-man rotation. It's really just about your 7-man
Yep.
rotation.
Yep.
All that manipulating of the referees he used to do. Nah. That ain't really going to happen. These shots are harder to make than they were. What was it, 15? What was a 15-footer now feels like an 18-footer? What was an 18-footer now feels like a 21-footer? Right? And what was 21 now feels like 3, and a 3-pointer might as well be from half court because the stakes have changed, right? It all comes down to you in your most basic and essential form. You as an individual, you as a team, right? You got to go through and you got to play with these different matchups. Circumstances will not be optimal. Like you're Boston right now. Some guys are going to be a little banged up. They're going to be a little bit hurt, but you can't mail any of those games in. Now, can't,
Mhm.
right? That
Nope.
it's right there.
It's pure. Like, I think that's the
Yep.
word that we're looking for, is there is a purity to playoff basketball that cannot be manipulated by, like you said, the refs, or you're playing 3 games in 4 nights and the other team is rested. You know what I mean? Like that,
Right.
everybody is in equal conditions. It's not fair, like you said, because some players are hurt, some players are fresh or whatever, but it's equal conditions. Everybody's battling the same thing. And if your game isn't tight, if your game requires you to take 6 dribbles when really 2 is needed, we gonna see it. And I think that's why some of these dudes rise, and some of these like playoff risers and playoff dudes who don't. You know what I mean? Like legit, there are guys who play better in the playoffs because when you strip it all down, I'm at the same level as y'all, and you don't have all these advantages over me. Bet we going, and I think that's why you're seeing some teams rise and some teams not.